actually were happy that finally these institutions are being put in place. But when you judge by their actions and yes, outputs, you are very comfortable with what is happening.
You see, the biggest problem, one of the challenges we've had in Cameroon has been that of bad governance and inability to create wealth for youths and many of these things. That's why you see the violence and the underdevelopment and what have you. And the problem is not really structures.
Okay, not the institutions.
No, it's the problem is not institutions. The problem is with the human person. So if I were in a position of strength, I would put Senate on holidays. They would say, just go on holidays for a couple of years. Let's see what will happen. Cameroon will not, look, let me watch my lips. Cameroon will not crumble if you went to that Senate and locked that place and threw the key into the sea, all right? It will not crumble. The Bilingualism Commission, lock that thing up, take their big cars, pack them somewhere and send them home for a holiday and see what will happen. There is a Social and Economic Council. Lock that thing up also. Hide the key somewhere and see what will happen. Cameroon will not come to a standstill. And then you need to go to ENAM and restructure that place. Because if you come to think of it, I have always thought that 80% of our problems in Cameroon are caused by ENAM. So we need, it is not structures, we have a problem of the human person.
Okay, so we have a structure of the human person. Where is the problem coming from with the structure? And
no, the problem of the human problem.
Yes, I remember we have exchanged severally on our the program's platform, where I say the government, the police, the military, almost everything is a reflection of who Cameroon is. Cameroonians are, because when you get the police, they are recruited from our community. You get those working for, those who get into ENAM are from our communities. Almost everybody. Where is the problem with the Cameroonian? Yes.
Yeah, you remember some time back, I was here trying to discuss a certain structure with you. I talked about politics, and I said that on our media platforms around the whole nation, we talk politics from morning till evening, 7 on 7 and so on. But in reality, there was something more important than politics that we were forgetting. I said there was politics and there was economics, and then there was development. And then under the table, I said that what was pulling the strings was the education. So once you have understood what is going on, you will realize that it doesn't matter what sector of the nation you take, nothing seems to be working, because that fundamental thing that is supposed to prepare people to do their jobs properly, to think critically, think systematically, and to think in a constructive manner and develop these capacities to solve problems and solve them well and do whatever well, is education. So it is the kind of education that we have that has failed the nation. Therefore, we have produced a breed of Cameroonians that are thinking in a particular pattern, and that pattern is not the best of patterns, and that's why if we don't change that pattern, nothing will work.
Okay, you think it is the pattern of Cameroonians that we have today? There's need for a paradigm shift.
Yeah, created by the education and created by our political systems and created by a lot of things. Okay, we need a paradigm shift.
Now, we have also this year seen women that were brutally murdered in spectacular fashion. We saw the lady that was murdered in Bamenda. We saw the other one who was killed in Muyuka. A host of others, 7 of them killed in that fashion. Does it also tell the level to which Cameroonians have descended to, the bestial nature of who we are today?
You see, violence and evil. Violence and evil. Let's put a scale up like this, okay? If you've seen some of these rulers that are vertical, we have a 0 up here, and we can have 1, 2, 3 counting upwards, and the -1, -2 counting downwards. Let's start at 0.
Okay.
You know, that's the steady state. Now, the human being, you know, we are born evil. We are born evil. So it is easier for the human being to be under the 0 and be evil than to be good. That's why we go to school. That's why your parents train you. That's why we go to church. That's why we go to the mosque, to build this positive energy in us and positive way of thinking so that we remain positive. But when that system is broken, where the human being reverts to to his primitive nature, to his animal nature. He begins to take pleasure when he goes from -1 evil to -5. You know, it gives him some kind of a boost, which is a negative kind of boost. It's like smoking banga or drugs, taking drugs. The more you take, the better you feel. We get to the extent where we take pleasure in the suffering of other human beings. We take pleasure in seeing blood. It no longer means anything to us. As long as it's not your own blood, you don't care. We get to that point where you say, je m'en fous. You don't care. You know, people die in an accident. You only make selfies. You don't care. You don't really feel it. We have come to that point where we no longer have these human feelings. And you see, so people will tend, you know, the women and the children are the weaker, and the old men are the weaker arm of the society. So this arm of the society takes the brunt of violence more than anyone else. So it's very, very unfortunate. So, but how do we correct that kind of thing? We have to do what is right and correct what started the whole thing in the first place. Because just running after those events, it's not what will solve the problem. You need to solve the real problem, and then those events will be curbed.
Okay. Please, if you're watching us and you have New Year wishes to whosoever, send them the wishes to us. We are going to read them out, and even if the video wishes, send them to us. We are going to play them during this edition of the program. We once again are using this platform to say a special New Year wish to almost everybody watching the program, those who have stood by my media prime throughout this year, and we hope that you are going to stay with us in the course of the year 2021. After the spectacular killings of these women, the wave after that wave, we also witnessed the killing of students in an institution in Kmer. We witnessed the humiliation of students in another institution in Limbe, and we saw the kidnap of students or teachers in Kumbu. What reading do you make of this? Still, the fact that until we solve the problem, this may continue?
We can continue to name these things, and if we don't do something concrete, the year 2021 will not be different. We'll see more of them, because the evil spirit is out there and is roaming around. It's roaming around, and it would the evil spirit, whatever, is only looking for ways and means for come up with more dramatic evil. Okay. And so there has never been any good out of the evil spirit, so it would only look but for ways and means of making it more dramatic and hurting. So it is left for us as a reasoning people, as a God-fearing people, to solve these problems that we have in Cameroon once and for all. Do what is right and necessary to solve the problem.
Who is supposed to solve it?
We have to solve the problem. You know, let me remind us again that, you know, you remember President Paul Biya in France with Mo Ibrahim? That is the beginning of the solution of the problem. But it looks like many people around the president don't seem to get the importance of that statement that he made, that Anglophones should be given an opportunity to express themselves freely and be who they are. By giving Anglophones the opportunity to express themselves freely and be who they are doesn't mean separation. You know, there's other forms of state that can give them the opportunity to do that, and everybody will be happy. You know, because he said that, you know, for the past couple of years, I mean, starting sometime in 1972, they have been trying to make, you know, to compress Anglophones to think and act like Anglophones, to
the respective harmonization initiatives.
No, I don't know what it is, but what they were trying to do is to integrate. There was some marginalization and integration of Anglophones, trying to change Anglophones into who they are not. And he said that that experiment had failed. So we hope that if there's another dialogue if there's another dialogue down the road, that dialogue should sincerely address that problem in the form of state, so that we have peace in the nation and so that people can get on with their work.
You think only the government can solve this?
Well, the government has the yam and the knife.
Those involved in this also. What if the government says, I want this to end, and they say, no?
No, they can't say that. They don't have the power to say that.
Okay.
All they are looking for is for some. It's
an opportunity for them to sit down.
Yes, some to show some genuineness and some sincerity in what you are doing, and put the cards on the table, and it will be okay.
Okay. This year also we saw the holding of the regional elections in Cameroon, that also has given birth to the election of regional executives. Are we going to see the special status in full force now? Also answering some of the worries you raised earlier.
You know, each time someone asks me questions in relation to decentralization, special status, I tend to bite my lips, because, you know, if you, the English language, you know, there's the, is it adjective? Good. Good is an adjective, right? There's good, there's better, and there's best. So let's say that the major national dialogue and the decentralization and the special status and the elections or whatever, those are good. But what I'm saying is that there was a better way of doing it. Have I answered your question?
When you say there was a better way, elections took place in the northwest and southwest, in the littoral, and to some extent across the nation, all the 10 regions. Are you saying that some degree of power is not going to be given down to the people
when we
to
look
manage
at
themselves?
When we look at the regions in the French-speaking part of the nation, it is their first baby steps at self-governance. So it's a great thing for them that they would learn to look after themselves. They will learn to quarrel. They would learn to fight over things. They would learn to sit down and talk in like adults and solve their problems, because up until now it was the prefect and the sous-prefect that was dictating to them what should be done. But again, the unfortunate thing with the decentralization, which is very different from federation and confederation, is that we still have appointed SDOs and DOs and governors, and you see, we now have elected presidents of the regions. And when you go to the former West Cameroon, they have added a third personality, the public conciliator. So you see, there is a lot of confusion. All right, there's so many. The power lines are not well defined. There's a lot of confusion, and if you had followed we had followed something like confederation that we discussed some time back, you know, it will be the lines of command will be very straightforward.
Okay. So you're not very comfortable with the regional elections, and
well, there's going to be a lot of mismanagement and a lot of wastage, because there are just too many. We have recruited too many civil servants and put them there. They will just be with ties and coats and so on, and so we are not really solving a problem. And many of them who came back are the old people who had been there, tired, and never really achieved much. They were resting. We brought them to continue to earn a penny.
Now, we also have witnessed lots of deadly accidents on our major highways. Is it a major concern to you as a Cameroonian? And do you think the government has to work to better our road infrastructure? Yes,
there are a lot of accidents on our roads, and it's very worrying. And the problems have to be solved by two groups of persons.
Okay.
Now, the government is responsible to an extent, and the Cameroonian citizen is also responsible for the accidents.
Okay.
You know, there is that video that someone was playing. I don't know whether you've played it before. La route n'est tu pas?
Already.
Or something. How do you sing it again? It's not the road that kills. We are the ones who kill. So it doesn't matter how bad the road is. If the human being is conscientious, there will be no accidents. But I know that the potholes on the roads are really a problem, because I myself have been in a lot of trouble. Because sometimes you are driving in the night, or you're just driving and you think it's all beautiful, and then this pothole just shows up, and if there's an oncoming vehicle, there's no way you can dodge it, and then you fall in it, and it blows your tire, and it can turn the car over. So there are problems there. Then you also notice that there's a lot of grass around our roads. You know, the roads are not, they're not kept clean.
Yep.
So it's very difficult. Visibility is poor. Visibility is poor, and then people sell things right onto the road. So, and when we construct our roads, there is no you know, there has to be, I don't know the technical term that is used. Like when you build a road, you know, you have to create some parking off the road. You know, now and again, a few kilometers, you create some parking off the road, both sides of the way, so that, let's say, if you are driving a truck and you are in a problem, you look for the nearest exit and then move out of the road and park it off the road, you know, in that area that is created. But here we don't have it, which means that when a truck is bad, you just leave it in the middle of the road, and that kills people.
Nobody pulls them away.
No, nobody pulls them away. And even if the guy wanted to, there's no way to pack it, because there's a ravine this way, a ravine this, forest this way, and nothing was previewed to that for that. So it's really terrible. So there is a lot of this indiscipline. There's a lot of indiscipline on both sides. You know, even for the government. You know, once I was driving from Douala, not from Douala, from Yaoundé to Bamenda, and I was in the Bafia stretch out there, and the gendarmes stopped me, and they said they had picked me up on the radar, and I was going at 113 kilometers an hour when I was not supposed to go past 110. You know, I excused myself, and you know, after having paid the charges, 25,000, they asked me. Then I was like, I didn't even see the speed limit. I said, can you show me the speed limit? The gendarme told me that c'est dans la brousse là. You know, how can a speed limit, I mean, how can a road sign be in the bush? And if you notice, most of the road signs are in the bushes. They are not visible. And one other thing I would like to say here about our road signs is, you know, when there's a road sign limiting your speed, let's say to 80, you see the 80 written there, you know, in red. The speed limit would be there because there is something about the road, okay, that calls for that calls for it. And if you're careful and you're observant, you'll be able to notice it. Is it a bend or something funny somewhere? Are you going to a village or something? But what is surprising is that after you go through whatever obstruction is there is supposed to be a similar one of a gray color with a cross barring it, to say that speed limit has been uplifted. But you will notice that they don't exist, which means that if you see a speed limit which says don't go beyond 50, and you are going through some area, there is nothing else that is going to free you from that. You will be driving at 50 for kilometers on end, and then when you decide to increase your speed out of your own, the gendarmes catch you. So we do all these things. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah, but Cameroonians themselves are supposed to be more disciplined, yeah?
Yes, we have to be more disciplined, because even when things are so obvious, you will see people just create accidents for no good reason.
Even in the cities.
Yeah, even in the cities. The other day I was going down to Yaoundé very early in the morning at about 5 a.m. Just as we crossed the Dibombari or something. Dibamba. There was a young man, you know, who drove past us at top speed in a white Hilux. He went phew, like a shooting star. And then just 100 meters, he knocked the back of a car and tore and ripped the passenger side of the car. Unfortunately, he was alone in the car, and you know, he damaged his face and damaged everything and so on. We're just fortunate that there was nobody sitting at that front seat who would have died. So, you know, when he passed, it was like, oh my God, what's that? And then 100 meters down the road, he was in an accident. Unnecessary speed, running to nowhere.
Everywhere in town now.
Everywhere in town, yes. People just speed, young people just speed. Oh, and by the way, before we even forget and leave this topic, let us talk about alcohol.
Yeah, that's what
alcohol is a huge problem. It's a huge problem. I don't know about the accident that Aveni had, but I read somewhere that it was probably due to alcohol and that the driver was drinking. I don't know if it's true or false. But if we look critically at that accident, it's man-made. For starters, when you drive on the highway, when you drive on the road, the point is not for you, okay, let's assume that there are potholes and the road is bad, granted. Then you are supposed to be so conscious of that and drive in a manner that if a dog were to cross the road, if a child were to cross the road, or something unexpected were to happen, you'll be able to control that car. That's the bottom line. That is the bottom line. Drive, and when the riskier it is, the slower you should go. When the visibility is poor, the slower the slower you should go. So there is really no excuse. Am I making some sense here? Now let's watch what happens. So the first bus has an accident for one reason or the other. Then the second bus is driving so carelessly that it comes and rams itself into it again. If the bus of and then he says there was no signalation, nobody indicated that there was an accident, which is another mistake. You have to indicate that's an accident somehow. So another bus comes again and does what it did. So you see, there's a human element here that we need to work on, and it's just this irresponsible drinking in Cameroon. We just drink and drink and drink and drink.
Yeah, but there is also need to question the job of our road safety guys who are in towns and along the major highways. We have police guys on the way, gendarmes officers on the way, but seemingly nothing is happening.
I think there should be some legislation relative to alcohol and drinking. There's the breath test for alcohol. Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've not seen it physically, but I've seen it done
on our roads.
On our roads, yeah.
Have you seen it on our roads?
Usually, when they come out for the campaign, the launch of road safety campaigns.
Okay, I've not seen it yet, but what they should do, that should be something that should be everywhere.
It should be permanent.
It should be permanent everywhere, and all drivers and guys on. You see, like all these motorcycle boys running all over and drinking this whiskey in sachets. Everybody that is on a motorcycle, a car, on a truck, on the road, driving on the road, should be tested. If there's alcohol on you, not even a bit of it, that is, let's put it this way: if you are supposed to, if let's say I'm supposed to drive a car to Yaoundé tomorrow. This evening, starting today, I should not drink. Then I should make sure I sleep well at night. Then tomorrow I drive. And we should say that if on the way I'm tested and there's a little bit of alcohol, it's not a question of you didn't reach this level or what level, because those levels, people react differently to alcohol. There should be no alcohol in your breath or your bloodstream when you are driving. And if we make that a law and make it in such a way that if you are driving and there's alcohol in your blood, the car is taken away from you and kept for 1 week or something, and you are punished. But then
Doctor, don't you also see a responsibility of most of us, the passengers, because you have 70 persons in the bus. A driver adds 20 extra persons. You guys are seated comfortably, responsible persons, and nobody dares to question the driver why he's endangering your lives. You are in the bus, and the driver 70-seater bus is on 110, 120, and all you guys do is pray. You make the sign of the cross to reach destination, and seemingly nobody is saying anything. A driver is seated to take a bus to Bamenda. He drops around a melon and he's consuming. The passengers themselves
are offering him beer.
Yeah,
it's sad, right?
Yes.
It's really sad.
Don't you think that we are also responsible?
It's very sad, because I've had occasion of taking some of those public buses sometimes, and I notice something that is it's not right. And when I try to raise my voice, people just shout.
I've had that situation.
Yeah, and then they say, why didn't you take your private car? They say some nasty things. You know what I mean? It's sometimes. We need an education on this. Yeah.
Okay. Another issue that shook the nation has to do with the planned September 22nd manifestation that was supposed to be led by the CRM of Professor Maurice Kamto in conjunction with other political parties. Your take on it? It did not really work out so well. But
it didn't work out, but if you ask me, the match was sans objet.
Okay.
It was sans objet. it's no use, you know. Why do I say so? You remember I sent out a small table where I said that even if the MRC, the SDF or Cabral Libya replace the CPDM, it will still not change anything. You remember?
The same result.
It will produce the same results. Because you remember I told you about a mindset. We, as long as we are operating in that mindset, it doesn't matter who replaces who or what is happening. It's all of those things are exercises in futility. Okay, so it was just. There's really no use. It was really no use. And then when you look behind it, you know, oh, okay, you are doing it because of the Anglophone problem, because of this. Most of those things are very, very flimsy. It's really no use. And what we need to do is to sit down as Cameroonians, forget about parties. What do we need to do to make our nation work? Once we have gotten that right, then things will be okay. As of now, what is going on is, you know, Francophones call it la mangeoire or whatever. That's the table. There's the
everybody wants to
access the mangeoire and then steal some money from the public coffers or something like that, or put your own brother in Enam, put your own. You just want to, or the other person to leave, so you come there and put your own people. If you look very carefully, let's say at the MRC, they have tried to do some appointments in their party, some ministerial something and so on. If you look, you just see that the tribal connotations are very strong. You understand what I'm saying? Which is not very different from the way other parties operate. We need to get out of that and make common good our strategy. And the problems of Cameroon is not political party. The problems of Cameroon is the mindset. Is the mindset, number one. Is job creation for the youths, is changing the education, is making sure that we create wealth.
Okay. Greetings, Mr. Liu. I wish to extend a New Year wishes to all my family members and friends, especially to the Wanzem and Kenko Kembong families, Dr. Mrs. Rose Meringwa and Takwa's family, Sheza 89 family, and all those whose names I've not mentioned. Ngala, Gerard in Bomenda. Please, like I said earlier on, if you have New Year wishes to your family and friends, send them to us. We'll read them out in the course of this program. Good evening to you all in the studio. 2020 was not really a success, but we pray and wish that this year 2021 has come with a difference and a turnaround in our country. Summer, writing from Boya. Good evening, Mr. Leonard. I'm for Daniel from Kamer. Special New Year to you and my brother Dr. Nick. Okay, Daniel from Kamer. Good evening to you. Esther, writing from Yaoundé, says Happy New Year to you, Mr. Liu, and everyone who always comes to educate us on Prime R. Also to my entire family. Esther, good evening to you. Good evening, Ayong. Your message is gone. Happy New Year to the head of state, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Fund of Funds, and we thank him for making it possible for us to see this new year and for the good weather he has given us. Even the Bible knows he is the head of state. Check your Bible, I can quote it all the time. Romans 13:1-3. Joseph is writing from Yaoundé. Happy New Year to you, Joseph. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu. Happy New Year. I'm enjoying the program. I'm praying that in this new year, 2021, let Cameroon change its fashion, because when there is a new year, things change. So let Cameroon change its fashion. Fabrice is writing from Amanda. Fabrice is lamenting, crying. Fabrice Asha. And please, this one says, I want to say Happy New Year to you in the studio, my brother, Mr. Quay Francis, Itanjok, and Lydia, and to all my Facebook friends. Okay, send the New Year wishes. I'm going to read them out to your families and friends. Good evening, my media prime. Daddy is writing from Amanda. The young CPM man is just so excited. Okay, no, this is not for today. Boo Amen, writing from Mile 4, Amanda, says wishes all my media prime crew a happy and prosperous new year. To my family and friends, I wish them God's amazing blessings throughout this year. Good evening to you, Mbu. Amen. Good evening. Good evening to you in the studio. Good show and Happy New Year. I was expecting our president in two main facts: general amnesty, unilateral ceasefire. Mr. Paul Foben from Awing. greetings to Dr. Nick. Okay. Happy New Year to my media prime, to my mom, Helen, to all my brothers and sisters, and to all the religious and Christians faithfuls of St. Mary Parish, Balikumbat. God bless you. By Langmi Festus, writing from Balikumbat. Good evening to you, Langmi Festus. I'm Pius Villiers from Bamenda. I want to send my New Year wishes to Dr. Nick, on the panel, my spouse, Mary Anita, the Ngundu family, the Archbishop of Bamenda, the Gentleman Club Bamenda, friends and relatives, and to all the staff of Prime Media, the Stamps community of Bambui, as we pray for peace to return in the northwest and southwest regions. Okay. This one says, I'm wishing a happy new year to all CDC workers. Let the Almighty God bless and overturn our financial difficulties this 2021. I'm Dr. Ken Motumba. Good evening to you, Doctor. This one says, I am Tamina Michael. Wishes entire Taminas and Mekonto's family a happy and prosperous new year 2021. Stop calling, please. If you have New Year wishes for your family and friends, just send them. I'll read them out. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I wish the head of state should take Dr. Nick for a personal advisor. Dr. Nick is very intellectual, and country like Cameroon needs people like him. From Jean is writing from Limbe. Dr. Nick, when we look at the September 22nd planned manifestations, which I don't know whether to describe them as success or a flop, but there was a government response, reaction to it. Many of those who went out are currently in prison. Do you appreciate the way the government really responded to that move?
You know, initially I didn't understand why the government reacted the way she did. You know, I thought the government was overreacting. Okay. Yeah, but you know, you never know about intelligence is one thing. You know, when I mean by intelligence, you know, the reports that were gathered, you know, by the security services, they acted, I guess, based on those. And if you listen very carefully to what the president was saying, the president yesterday said they were fronting a peaceful march, yet they wanted to start an insurrection. Yeah. If that is truly what the government knew and believed they were going to do, then the government was right to stop it. You know, because sometimes in moments like this, you know, there's just that much that can start a fire, and the country has more fires than we can really handle. There's a fire in the northwest and southwest region. There's a fire in the northern region. There's some fires in the eastern region, and then there's another phenomenon called the microbe. You know, so when you have so many fires burning like that, you need to stamp out things before they get out of hand. And just like I was telling you, the problem is not a change of political parties. We need to actually have that mindset change. Then, you know, then things would really evolve in the right direction. Because as I said, even if you took out the CPD and put the MRC now, it's still no use.
Okay. What was your reaction when opposition parties, some major opposition parties, decided to boycott the legislative and the municipal elections and definitely the regional elections?
There's still no use, because when we finally get the country on the right track, a lot of problems will be solved and a lot of things will fall in place. Whether they boycotted or didn't boycott or whatever, it's still no use, because you know, you are asking me to assess a journey when we are on the wrong path. Okay. You understand? So there's no point assessing a journey when you're on the wrong path. When you're on the right path, you can assess it. But as long as you're on the wrong path, whether you participate or didn't participate, or went up or down, it's still no use.
Hello, my media prime. I'm happy for the topic on board. Greetings to Dr. Nick Ngwanya, the star of the Mbum community. Happy birthday to all people from Mbipgo village and my family in particular, and for his writing from DOP. Good evening to you. Now we'll continue with Dr. Nick in the studio with us, doing a retrospect of the year 2020 as was seen in Cameroon. Now we saw the back to school campaign in Cameroon. Yeah. Many efforts were put up by the government and other civil society organizations. I'm sure persons like yourself, your appreciation to it with a net increase in enrollments in the southwest and northwest regions.
Yes, it's good. Was a good thing. But if we had the peace, there would not have been a lot of need for the campaigns. I mean, people would have just gone to school. So it's not very much the campaign. The campaign is not important. What is important for us to be doing is to solve the problem. You know, we've been beating around the bush, and then I was very amused because I saw some elite from Santa. You know, the elite went to Santa, and I don't want to call names, and he was playing the drum there. Oh, I've come. Oh, I go to school, and throwing his weight around the place, and I was kind of like very amused because there were 2 or 3 of them from Santa, kind of like boxing each other. So they use opportunities like that to showcase themselves. You see, I'm the cock crowing in this house and so on. So really, all that is just a waste of time. What we should do is to solve this Anglophone problem, let people get around with their businesses.
Yeah, but is it the elites that is supposed to solve the problem? Well,
the elites, they take advantage of everything, and I'm sure we've had occasion to say here many times that the elites, if the problems that we have in Cameroon, especially in Cameroon as a whole, and especially in the northwest and southwest, those problems are made worse by elites, because number one, they tell lies, they cannot be trusted. You know, the president sends them out to go do things on his behalf, but they work more for themselves than for the president and the nation. If they were working in the interest of the president and the nation, we would not be where we are. And you know, and the president would appoint people from the elite community to posts of responsibility and expects them to do some work. But these people, they would do everything other than do the work for which they have been employed. And when you want to ask them, why are you not achieving? They will say, no, we were waiting for the presidency to react on this and so on and so forth. But when they are stealing the money, they don't ask the presidency. You understand what I'm saying? So it's just bad faith. And more often than not, you would hear them, you know, for every little thing they would come and sing, pray, oh, you know, send motions of support and those things and so on. And you would have realized that most of the people who sing motions of support from morning to evening are the ones who do worse.
Now, we know that the major national dialogue held at the end of last year, 2020 is finished. We are in 2021. Your appreciation of the implementation process of the recommendations that came out of the major national dialogue, you think that 1 year after a lot was accomplished?
Like I said, that major national dialogue was the panacea, or the medicine, was supposed to be the medicine for solving the Anglophone problem. But the doctor who administered it did not do the right job. So you see, somebody has malaria, and you know that the medicine you have to give the patient for the malaria is quinine, but you give an underdose of quinine, or you administer it through the wrong route. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it is not effective. So the major national dialogue was a tool that was supposed to solve the Anglophone problems, but it was derailed
and misused,
détourné, as they say. You know, the problem was the Anglophone problem, and you are supposed to shoot at the Anglophone problem. And the bullet you are supposed to put inside to shoot the Anglophone problem is called form of state. You remove that bullet and keep it, and then you take le pétard. I mean, I'm trying to be figurative, and then you are trying to go around it. You are trying to shoot an elephant with bows and arrows and so on, skirting around the problem. We skirted around the problem. We never made good use of the major national dialogue, and that's why trying to implement things today looks like an uphill task. But if the major national dialogue were properly done, you wouldn't even need all this noise. Everything would have just fallen in place.
Okay. This one says, every and marks a new beginning. Keep your spirit and determination. Okay, good evening and happy new year to you all in the studio, especially to Dr. Nick, and happy new year to Tungia's family, Aningwa's family in Baum, Bafut, and the Adamu Yunwa's family in Taba Ndu, Yunglak Yunwa Dennis, writing from Kumba. Good evening. Keep the new year wishes coming. I'll take time to read them today. Hello, good evening, Mr. Liu. I think the drivers who drink and drive should be seriously punished. Happy New Year to all my brothers and sisters from Osing Village. Tato Favor is writing from Boya. Mr. Liu, good evening. I am Bisong Bridget from Bamenda. I am wishing my entire family, the TT Bisong's family from home and abroad, a prosperous new year, and we are thanking God for life. And I love what Doctor is saying. Thank you very much, Kimbi. Cyprian writing from Yaoundé says, Happy New Year to the family of late Pa Ya Philip Ta of Boom. Good evening and Happy New Year to you all. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Happy New Year to all my family and friends, especially my wife. I wish peace returns to the northwest and southwest regions. Hassan Ndale is writing from Ndop. Hassan, you did not send your wife's name. Mr. Liu, I'm writing from Germany. 2020 was the worst year in my beloved country. Nevertheless, we'll hope for better days to come in 2021. I wish the house Happy New Year to in the studio. Thanks, Martin. Martin, thank you very much. Wherever you are watching us from, send New Year wishes to your loved ones, your family, and your friends. Shu Achu writing from Bamenda. Happy New Year to my family, the football referees in Cameroon, the Babatu community, the Bafut community, and the Pathfinder community. Okay, good evening, Mr. Liu. Happy New Year. The end of year speech was not encouraging at all. Okay, season's greetings, Mr. Liu. Please, I wish Dr. Nick, as a sound medic educationist, to tell us how can medical training in Cameroon be beefed up in order to ameliorate health care, universal health coverage, since health indicators are poor and most Cameroonians don't have good memories of this. Thanks, Mr. Foy, writing from Edea in littoral region. Good evening to you. Good evening to you, sir. I'm wishing a happy new year to my mother, Nditanda Mariama. May she have a long life. Wishing happy new year to the entire staff and students of the University of Bamenda, specifically the College of Technology, Cortec. This is Engineer Gaddafi from Bambili. I'm enjoying the show. Special evenings to all of you watching us from Bambili this evening. Good evening, Mr. Liu, and Happy New Year to all my family members and friends. Nerus is writing from Tobin. You have an answer to the guy who asked about the medical training. Yeah,
I think he's right. He's right. There's you know, our health services in Cameroon. It's a call for concern. There are lots that we're doing in Cameroon that needs to be beefed up. And of course, I trained as a medical doctor in Cuse, and I went to Nairobi, trained in Nairobi, and I went to London and I trained. I've worked in government hospitals, I've worked in mission hospitals, I've had a private hospital myself. I've traveled around the world. So, you know, there's so much that we have to do to improve on our healthcare. It's really so much. And what I'd like to mention is that, you know, when we train in Cuse, you know, something like anatomy, just to give you an example, something like anatomy and physiology, anatomy for especially, you have to, you know, to get to understand anatomy very well, you've got to dissect those corpses, you know. But the whole time we train, we never touched the corpse. You know, it was always drawing on the board, croquis by Professor Obondo. And so when I went to Nairobi to train as a surgeon, I had an uphill task, and I had to work extra hard to come up to speed. And, you know, when I had finished training, I wanted to go teach in Cuse so that I could, you know, get this going. But, you know, I didn't have the right blood and the right genes, so I was not taken to teach there. But that said, there's this other thing now in Cameroon called concours. Concours are killing the nation. You know, I don't know where it came from, but those concours are competitive exams are killing the nation. not that concours in themselves are bad, but the way they are administered and the philosophy behind it is really bad. Of course, you've seen some things going on social media where there's a concours to go to this school, and the minister writes a letter and sends to the director, I have this list for you. I'm sure you're aware of it, right? I mean, so what's the point? Now, just to say that when I went to train in Nairobi, we noticed something. In Nairobi, they don't have an Anglophones and Francophones. It's just one system, okay? And when children pass their GCE, there is nothing like a concours, a competitive exam. It doesn't exist. Everybody is kind of like put on they're graded, you know, the first going, you know, like to the last or whatever. And what they would do is they would just take a pen and a paper, take that list and put it down, and they would take a ruler. The first 30 to the School of Pharmacy, the next 150 to the School of Medicine. Are you seeing the way they just did it? If, let's say, you were for pharmacy and you didn't want it and you wanted to do medicine, you just swapped with some other person, and that's the way they did it. And so the children of the poor who were good, you know, could become whoever they wanted to be. But these days, it's the children of governors, generals, ministers, and so on, who are everything. But they are not the best. You understand? It's not. I mean, of course, the children of governors do have a right to be who they want to be, but the children of the farmers do have a right to be who they want to be based on capacity. But what we are doing in this country, we say we are looking for capacity, but it's a trump card that works from the back, which is stronger than capacities.
Okay. We are also going to be discussing Anglophone crisis, announcement of discussions between the government and separatist leaders, especially Ayuk Tabe. There was an announcement that was made, though it was denied, I'm sure, a day or two later by the government through the Minister of Communication for some reasons that we have not really understood. You think that was a rare opportunity that gave hope to people?
Well, there has been a lot that has been said and unsaid, you know, relative to that. But the bottom line is that there's something called the Swiss talks. And those talks, they started somewhere, I understand. And I think those talks are going to continue somewhere down the line. Whether we like it or not, those talks are the ones that will solve our problems. And we need to put in everything that it takes to have a genuine talks, you know, that involves everybody, and putting all the cards on the table and looking at the best thing that can work for us. You know, we had a highly centralized state over here, and then we have, because I mean, we're somewhere here, and the state started to centralize things and push things, you know, to this extreme, which annoyed people who didn't want to go to that extreme. Then they started to pull things also to this extreme. So we have, you know, these two extremes, and what we need to do is to bring back everybody to this common ground called confederation.
Confederation. Are you undermining the possibility for talks to take place between what started in Cameroon, between the government and Ayuk Tabe?
I don't know about those details, but what I know is that there are some Swiss talks to which everybody will be invited, I'm told.
Were you not told of the Yaoundé meeting?
Well, we heard about the Yaoundé meeting, which was, someone said it was true, another person said it was false. True or false?
Ayuk Tabe is the one who brought it to public space.
Whatever.
And when we read what that song said that was not the first meeting.
I think that it was a good beginning, but all we can hope for is that we should have some good talks so that the problems are solved.
Yeah, but do we see that there are persons who are for talks within Cameroon and others who are for talks out of the country, but within the government circles, that is, there are divergent opinions as to how to go about solving the Anglophone problem?
What you have to realize is that a good thing remains a good thing, and if you think you are going to have 100% consensus on a good thing, it doesn't exist anywhere in the world. There is no thing in the world that you can, except when it comes to eating. People will say yes, it's good to eat. Okay, yeah. Even if someone says it's not good to eat, just leave him. Just give him a couple of hours. He will be looking for the food. But on issues like this, you always have people who are for and against, and there are some people who benefit from chaotic situations who might not want the talks, because as long as the chaos goes on, they keep milking the state and milking everyone else for their personal gains.
Okay. Good evening to doctor in the studio. His ideas are good. If the government can give an ear, please keep talking. Emmanuel is writing from Bamenda. Good evening and happy new year, most especially to my people in Akwaya and Bright living in Buya. Good evening to you, Mr. Liu, the studio. I'm called Miss Afanyu Ngenge Mispa. I wish happy new year to my lovely husband, Mr. Afanyu Ngenge in Bamenda, Auntie Pascaline in Yaoundé, Rene She in Camer, my mother and my father in Camer, to Dr. Nick and all my family members in Camer. But a prosperous new year. Please send us those wishes to your family and friends. We will read them. Good evening. I'm happy new year, most especially to my people. Okay, I'm sure that one was read already. Dr. Nick Gwanyam, what do you say about the war in Amazonia? Okay, what do you pretend? Okay. Socrates is writing from Yaoundé. Socrates.
What's he saying about the war?
Socrates says, what do you about the war? Why do you pretend that Amazonia is not a nation of its own? Did Amazonia not had their independence in October 1961? Socrates is writing from Yaoundé.
Well, he might call it West Cameroon because there was no name Amazonia in 1961. So maybe he's saying that in 1961 West Cameroon had her independence. But go read it again. I was not there. Why did the UN put the two together? Don't ask me those questions. But the bottom line is that we have a war now and the war must stop.
Okay, the war should stop. Socrates, I hope he has answered your question. Happy New Year, Mr. Leo. Please beg Dr. Nick to form his own political party. We shall all rally behind him. He has all the qualities and ideas to put this country on the right path. Barnabas Ngam is writing from Yaoundé. Dr. Nick has hurt you, I hope.
Well, I'd like to say that I'm a progressive CPDM. And that's what it's all about. Just join me in the progressive CPDM.
Okay, greetings, Mr. Liu and Dr. Nick. I'm Sir Prizo from Tico. Want to wish Happy New Year to my family members and most especially to my mom in Banga, not leaving out the entire staff of Sabibi Tico, and to all my friends around the country. Sir Prizo, good evening to you and Happy New Year to you too. Good evening and Happy New Year, Mr. Liu. I wish to tell all my friends that today is my birthday, most especially to the Fang people all over Cameroon. I'm going Janvier, writing from Tico. Happy birthday and New Year to you, Fang Janvier in Tico. I hope that after the program, I'll join you in celebrating. We'll come there with Dr. Nick. Paul Njobara, wishing you and your family a happy New Year. I was following your discussions in Prime Media now. Okay. And I'm very happy with your discussion. Thanks to you. You are the right person whom the president of this country is listening to. This Anglophone problem will be stopped very easily. Thanks. I'm from Ngarum. Okay, Ngarum. I don't know where Ngarum is. Good evening, Mr. Leo. Mr. Bia keeps singing the same song. He has been singing, calling us names, calling. 2020 is gone. Let's see how 2021 will look like. Happy New Year to you in the studio. May God guide you all. Nfon Adamu is writing from Lasin. Dr. Nick Ngwanyam. This year we also saw the UK and the US openly asking the government to look into the root causes of the Anglophone crisis, but stressing that they respect the territorial integrity of Cameroon.
Yeah, that's right. And those are the things that will be discussed at the Swiss talks. So yes, there's going to be a dialogue, and all those issues will be thrashed out on the table.
Flash out, but do you appreciate the international community's commitment or involvement in what is happening in Cameroon, especially with respect to the Anglophone crisis, this 2020 that just passed?
There is nothing you can do in Cameroon or anywhere in the world without taking into consideration the international community. And therefore, when America, Britain, and the others are talking, it's good to listen. It's good to listen and cooperate with them, not fight against them. If you fight against them, you're a loser. So yes, you have your own stand, but listen and then cooperate with them. Of course, it doesn't. Of course, you have to realize that sometimes when you have a chaotic situation like we have in African countries, most superpowers come there, and then as you people keep fighting on the ground, they get a hold on your country and they steal your country. So yeah, that is something you have to be worried about. But that doesn't mean that they cannot give you sound advice and they cannot help you to see the way. And there's no way we are going to do it on our own without listening to what the Security Council and the UN are saying. It's impossible.
Yeah, but for the first time, we saw the U.S. Undersecretary for African Affairs, Thibault Nash, who already called for instigators of violence in Cameroon to shun that act, and also said that they were no longer going to be part of any meeting with those who are pushing for violence in Cameroon.
What we have to realize is that the international community, they are civilized nations.
Okay.
And therefore, sometimes, when they tell you things in a soft way, it's good to listen. If you take a nation like America, for instance, they are caught between the hammer and a hard place. What am I saying? They have their own laws there, and they have their democracy there and whatever. And so when you have, let's say, our citizens who are living there, who have become citizens of that nation and are doing the kind of things they do on this part of the country, they are a little bit squeezed. But that said, it doesn't mean that they are not keeping their eyes and ears open to what is happening. But sometimes nations like that, they would tell, let's say, our own government. The government will go to, look, we all have this problem. They might, from behind the curtain, say, why don't you try this technique and so on. But if our government too is not listening and trying to do it the way they are suggesting, then their hands, so to speak, are tied. But if, let's say, they said, have the dialogue, and in the major national dialogue, we actually did what was right, just, and good, okay, as it's supposed to be done anywhere under the sun, then if you did that, and it's very clear to everybody that the right thing has been done, and then those people continue to do what they are doing, they would have been behind bars by now.
Okay. Happy New Year to you, Mr. Liu, my elder brother, Dr. Nick. Greet all my family in Mbot and Mbot village. Mr. Ngwang Franklin is writing from Andawara. Good evening to you, Mr. Ngwang. Happy New Year to you, a special someone very intelligent, full of wisdom. Happy New Year to the kangaroo man. Happy New Year to you, Mr. Liu, and especially to Dr. Nick. It's Inandes writing from Libialem, Menji to be precise. Happy New Year to my Lolo Selina, the Makwas in Yaoundé, Boya, and Kumba. Mr. Fa Elvis, Mr. Liu, and panelist Joe Kibila is writing from Bamenda. Good evening and Happy New Year to you, Mr. Liu. I'm Linus from Bali, Nyunga. Good evening to you and to everybody who is watching us from Bali, Nyunga. We extend our New Year wishes to you and a prosperous, prosperous New Year. Hello, Happy New Year wishes to my family members at home and abroad, thanking God for another one here in our lives. It's Pamela writing from Cape Town. Good evening, Mr. Leo, and good evening to you, Dr. Nick. I'm Quine Elvis writing from Bamenda, Ntamulung. I want to wish a Happy New Year to my family, my elder sister, Lovelyn, and my brother-in-laws, Robert and Tani Paul. I want to wish the entire Quine family a Happy New Year. Okay. I am Yenika Leonard from Jakiri Bui Division. Good evening to you and the crew, Mr. Liu. Special New Year wishes to Mr. Fonka Valentine, Fonka Hilda, Fonka Elizabeth, all in Bamenda, to Soyuni, Pascaline, and all my friends here in Jakiri. Finally, to the staff of my Media Prime, we join you in celebrating, and everybody watching us from Jakiri and Kumbo, where we know we have a very strong viewers there. Good evening to you in the studio. Special thanks to Dr. Nick for educating the public. Happy New Year to the people of Babungo, especially to Ndingole's family. Ndingole's Thierry, writing from Bamenda. Special greetings to the fan club that is watching us from Nyasosa also, especially to you, the person coordinating all those that are watching us from Nyasosa. We hear that you gather yourselves every evening to follow our program. Good evening to all of you in the studio. Cleveland, writing from Chang, wishing the Zinkias family a happy cross to 2021, and to my media prime. Thank you to you, Mbachu. NS, special greetings to you. Greetings, Mr. Leo. I wish to extend New Year wishes to Mawe Luis and family, Mawe Yvonne, Mr. Amfor Francis, the media family in Bamenda, and to the staff of my media prime, Mawe Nancy, writing from Bamenda. Thank you very much, Dr. Nick Angwanyam. We also note this year, especially after the announcement of talks between the government and the separatist leaders that are locked up at Kondingi, we saw many voices that were resonating, actually saying that they no longer represent the struggle, the people of the people who are fighting. And even across the year, we've seen one faction insulting the other. We've seen this abusing the other, calling others names, a lot of division from amongst those who are fighting.
If you look at it very carefully, when you talk about power, power is actually your ability to influence others. And if we look at all these people who are working on behalf of Ambazonia, nobody elected anybody. So it's the power just kind of like constituted itself, and then they started to shake the house, so to speak. And it would look like you had to kind of like tackle another person to fall so that you get a place you emerge, and therefore it's the jungle law that set in, and it's very unfortunate, and they don't seem to listen to each other, and they throw banana peelings at each other in the public, and that's what has made a bad situation worse. Because instead of joining together to speak with one voice to the government, they fight each other, and then for some of the factions, to show that they are strong, they go on the field and they actually harass the civilian population, doing a lot of funny things and so on. So like I said, when Odeshi, which is an evil spirit, sets in, it looks like the more evil you are, the stronger you become in the devil world.
But even in the ranks of the government, it's apparently there are people who are genuinely seeking for solutions, while others are comfortable with the prolongation of the situation so that they can milk the state from its resources. There
are two situations that happen in the government which tells us that everything is not right. When these problems just started and Prime Minister Philemon Yang came to Bamenda and was talking to the teachers groups and lawyers groups at Ayaba, the very evening, the 5 ministers gathered on CRTV to tell the Prime Minister off, and they rubbished him. And then I thought that was a joke in bad taste, but it looked like nobody cared. And when Prime Minister John Gute also announced the major national dialogue, he said everything was going to be on the table except, of course, separation. And then one of the ministers again came up on a foreign media to tell the Prime Minister off. So when these kind of things happen, then you begin to understand and probably accept that sometimes those prime ministers are just put there as window dressings and they have no power of their own. And so you can now tell that there are fights on both camps. And when the war started, it was easier to stop the war at the time that it started. But as it has dragged on, many people have been benefiting from the war on both sides. And so the dogs of war phenomenon has set in, and is going to call for a lot of wisdom and tact to stop the war.
Okay. Happy New Year to Fon Do Ganyamin of Balikumbat. May God give you more wisdom. Happy New Year to Senator Barrister Kemende Henry and all the Balikumbat people. God will, people of God, goodwill by Prince of Peace from Balikumbat. Good evening to you and to everybody watching us from Balikumbat this evening. I am Lone Confidence writing from Bamenda. Happy New Year to all of you in the studio. My lovely husband, Mr. Che Yasin. My parents, Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan Lone of Asha Nko Noni. All the students of NSE Bambili, Branch Nzimancho, Mike Indwala, Lon Gideon, Lon Godlove, Pastor Nzi Elvis, and the entire Noni community in Bamenda. Okay, good evening to you. Tadi from Bamenda says a special greetings to Dr. Nick. He is so knowledgeable in his talks. Happy New Year to the Bafmen community. May God's blessings, love and peace, development continue to reign in the land of Bafmen, that is in Fungo subdivision, Menchum division. Good evening to all of you in the studio and Happy New Year to you all. I always wish a Happy New Year to all my friends and family actually. Emoni is writing, good evening to you, Emoni. I am wishing a Happy New Year to the entire Ngembanes family all over, and to the Lekunzes family, to the Andang's family, to the Omega Fire family in Kumba, and most especially to my little niece, Bibi Karen Deba, and to you all in the studio. Bu Seme, Emilian, not forgetting my lovely brother, Teba Pride. Andang Bu Seme Emilian is writing from Kumba. Good evening to you. Good evening and Happy New Year, especially to my daddy, Mr. Ada Sylvester, Bro Eke Elvis Agua Jane, Mr. Roland Abanda. I'm Bright, writing from Bright. Where is Bright? I don't know. Good evening to Dr. Nick. You speak very well. You are one of the people we respect here in Ground Zero. Okay. You say, okay, they say, but unfortunately you joined the ruling party. Okay. Happy New Year, Mr. Liu. Please greet Dr. Nick for me. I like his ideas. June is writing from Douala. Thank you very much, June. I don't know what is wrong with the ruling party. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I want to wish a Happy New Year to my family, especially to my wife, Gladys Ofufe. May God continue to bless her this year 2021, and to the entire CDC family for a financial breakthrough this year 2021. Mr. Roland is writing from the Boncha. They're regretting the fact that you belong to the CPDM party. Dr.
Yeah, no, the if they are, you know, at the beginning of the program we said that if you replace the CPDM with the SDF, with the MRC, or with Cabral Libi, or any other party of the 300, nothing will change. When you have come to the understanding that the problem is not the party, the problem is our mindset and the people, and it's very clear in your mind, then all you do is look for the opportunity to move the mindset of a nation from the wrong track to the right track.
How do we get that done?
What you and I are doing now already is the beginning. The fact that I have the courage to say the things that I say on TV is because I'm convinced about what I'm saying. You know, it's not easy for anyone to just stand up and say, look, our education is bad. And I say it without even, I'm sure you are on social media, you know how much I've been insulted by some of the people with masters and PhDs. You know, you say some things and they come after you and they push you, but you know why you are saying the things you are saying. You know, you will say something that will hurt the ego of one or two persons, but you are not saying it, you didn't have them in mind. You are looking at the general good of a nation to say that if we in Cameroon must be where other nations are, we need to make a shift. We need to bury our egos and find out what we have been doing wrong and begin to do the right things. If we don't do that, we'll never get anything corrected. For instance, you know, go check the classifications of universities in the world. I don't know whether the Cameroonian universities, where do they figure on that? I mean, forget about that. Just take universities in Africa. Where does Cameroon feature? It tells you that we have to work harder. And then the real measure, okay, the real measure is probably not even that. The real measure is that the children that you produce should be productive and solve your own problems. Like we have said before, if 95% of the products that are sold in our supermarkets or in our open markets are imported, then something is wrong.
Okay, something is definitely wrong, but we have also seen growing calls for an end to the Anglophone crisis. There are positions that are moving on both sides. The more and more as the days and years are going by,
Yes.
people are becoming more tired of the situation.
That's right.
How do we take advantage of these growing calls?
That's right. The people are shifting ground a little bit because killing each other is no use. I mean, I've had occasion to say it before. I mean, like telling the government, the solution to the Anglophone problems is not killing those young people and whatever. And to put it more graphically, you can kill all Anglophones. I said all plus unborn children. Kill all of them. That is not the solution to the Anglophone problem. You understand what I'm saying? What we are looking for is the solution to the Anglophone problems. What we are looking for is not killing people. And therefore, if you are not getting the right solution, then it's for you to step back and find out what is it that I was not doing right and do it and solve the problem. Because even if you kill all of them now, or anytime tomorrow, or for the next 100 years, without solving the problem, you still will not have solved the problem.
Okay, good evening. Doctor, you are doing a great job. If the government can take your ideologies, then we shall all enjoy. Bate Daniel is writing from Douala. Good evening to you, Bate Daniel, and a special happy New Year to you. Good evening to the house. Happy New Year to all my family members, especially to all those that have the name Kmer Jean-Claude, writing from Limbe. Good evening to you, Kmer. Good evening and Happy New Year. I am Richard. I like the way doctor analyzes issues. Thank you. Good evening and Happy New Year to you and my family. I'm Ernest from Du. Good evening to you. More and more persons watch us from Donga Mountain Division, eh?
Yes, that's my, of course, that's my division too.
I'm
guess
sure you are going to have a word for them at the end of the show.
They're my people. We are always together, and I just want to tell them that I love them. Okay. A moment ago, someone wrote from Garum, and you said he didn't know where Garum is. Garum just a few kilometers away from Du, on the way to Tundip, and I'm from Tundip. Okay. The best place on the world is called Tundip.
Okay, good evening and Happy New Year to you. In the studio, I always feel happy listening to Dr. Nick's ideas of government, especially when he talks about confederation being the best form, though it can be put into practice in this present government. Good evening, Mr. Leo and Dr. Nick. I appreciate your program, but we really need an end to the crisis, no matter how, because we have had a great human and material loss. It's K. Livingston from Bamenda. Happy New Year to you all. Please send New Year wishes to your family and loved ones. Send them to me. I'll read them out. Doctor, but this year also, curiously, we saw PhD holders staging a strike action in Yaoundé. We saw them also sending thank you message to the Minister of Higher Education and the President of the Republic. And recently in Chang, we saw them also sending special greetings to the President of the Republic. Did that strike you as an educationist?
You see, it makes me laugh.
Okay.
You said they were on strike. No, that was not a strike. They were wailing. There's a difference between a strike and wailing. They were not striking. Because, okay, let's assume they were striking. Yeah. All right? Okay, they were striking. Okay, and so what? Let them strike for 1 year. So what? You know, they were wailing. It's different from being on strike. And the question is, why were they wailing? And that's why I come to the point, what are we going to do to stop them from wailing? You know, they were wailing because, you know, government gave a couple of masters and PhDs holders jobs in the universities. And these ones who were wailing were kind of like forgotten. either intentionally or not, I don't know. But the bottom line is this. Those people who are willing, they have some certificates. All right? Watch me. They have some certificates.
PhD holders.
Yes, whatever they are. But the interesting thing is, they can't do anything with those certificates other than teaching. Do you get the point? Because this is it. If you had a PhD and you could do something else other than teaching, if the government didn't take you to teach, there are 1,001 other things that you could do with it. But if you could do nothing else with it other than teach, then that's a problem. And the government went ahead to make a bad situation worse. Let me explain. So you had 10, 20 people on the street screaming and crying and rolling all over the whole place, with some threatening to burn themselves or to drown or kill themselves because government didn't give them a job. And for government to solve the problem, government took them and put them in a classroom and gave them 10,000 other children again to teach them the very things that their professors cannot use. So you can see that we are multiplying a bad seed. Does it make sense what I'm trying to say? So give it a couple of years, you will have, instead of having 20 people wailing, we'll have 10,000 wailing. And those 10,000, if they take up guns, we are in a mess.
So you feel that the government was not supposed to recruit them?
No, that was the wrong. That was a. You are solving a problem without thinking things through. You are looking for the quick way of solving a problem. You have to fix the problem the right way, and not continue to perpetrate something that is wrong. Okay, for instance, what we could have done was take those 20 and many others who don't have jobs, put them down. Say, take pen and paper. Write down for me, what can you do and what is it that you are capable of doing? That's the decision, other than teaching. That's the way you should have put it. What can you do other than working in the civil service? Because the civil service has 300,000 people now, and that's too much. You know, you cannot keep increasing to 500,000 people to 1 million because people are wailing. That's wrong. And what we need to do in the near future is to retool everybody. It's not just those ones that were wailing is just an indicator of what is happening in the community. We need to look at all people who have gone through our universities, first degrees, masters and PhDs, and look at what they have, what they received. Find out what they can do, and find out in which areas they have interest, what they can do on their own if they are given the skills, and then we retrain them and give them those skills. If let's say you have a PhD in sociology, and we have so many sociologists that, you know, there's no room to fit sociologists, pull them together. Whatever you have, what is it you can, okay, I know that you have a PhD, a master's and PhD in sociology, and okay, that's great, congratulations. Just lay it aside. Let's look at you. Let's just look at you. What is it that you can do? And then we see how we can recraft them, starting from somewhere, and give them something basic that allows them to be functional in the private sector. That would be great.
Yeah, but after being absorbed into the public service, we saw them thanking the President of the Republic.
Yes, it's a mindset. It's a wrong mindset. It's a wrong mindset. It's honestly, it's a wrong mindset. And it makes us look so foolish. It's a wrong mindset. It makes people laugh at us.
Okay. It makes people laugh at us. We have seen the creation of the House of Chiefs for the Southwest and Northwest region. We are going back to the regional elections.
It's no use. It's no use because when you read the special status or whatever, it boils down to House of Chiefs and a couple of other things. Like I said, the major national dialogue did not solve the problem squarely. So any other thing that you are trying to do without really solving the problem squarely, it's an exercise that is just wasting resources.
We've seen tensions between the division officers and some chiefs who are considered auxiliaries of the administration.
There would always be those tensions.
Something is not going to
Yes, there will always be
now?
those tensions because in the spirit of what was supposed to be, SDOs and governors were not even supposed to be there if the right things were done. Are you getting what I'm saying? Yeah. If, let's say, for instance, a confederation had been put in place, the line of command will be very straight, okay? Where heading okay, take for instance like the presidents of the councils that have been of the regions that have been elected now would be now the governor actually. With the governors, with no SDO, all those things, power would have been streamlined, and then the government now would appoint somebody from the central government to come there and not to be the boss, but to sit by the side, and just to make sure that things are going well. I don't know whether I'm explaining myself well.
But the presidents of the regional council should be the boss of the region.
Yes, the president of the regional council should be the boss of the region. There should be no governor. There should be no SDO. There should be no DO. Are you getting what I'm saying? So those positions are filled by elected people who have the capacities. You would ask me, so where will you take the DOs from? These things about DOs, SDOs, and so on. Even a school like Enam should not be training them. That's train. Like the school in Boya. There's a new school in Boya for these things.
Yes, Sifam, that was
public management and so on and so forth. Those are things that even they should be taught in our public universities. So when a position comes like this, okay, people compete for those positions based on their capacities to solve problems. You see, like the young governor in Calabar State, that's the kind of person we want. To fill all those positions, it doesn't matter which position. You should have the mindset and the capacity of the governor of Calabar. It's not just this going around in court. It's not helping us.
Good evening to you and Doctor in the studio. Please, what are we talking about? We are doing a 2020 retrospect. If you can follow what we are saying. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Eric and G from Mambu Bafut. I want to wish a happy new year to my wife and children, to the Awandes family, and finally to my colleagues from St. Teresa's Catholic Medical Center, Mambu Bafut, and Sajoka, and my special friend, Mr. Kumbo Luis Indwala. Kumbo, that's my son. I see. Happy New Year, Mr. Liu, and to Dr. Nick. It is Annabelle from USA. Mr. Liu, Dr. Nick deserves 2 bottles of beer with roasted fish. Just Mumu the 2 bottles of beer to this number. I'll hand it to him. 2 bottles of beer and fish. Send it, Momo, to this number, so that I'll hand it to him. A beer with roasted fish, small pepper, and plenty mayonnaise. He is too intelligent, sir. No grace, more grace to your elbows. If the country listens to you, I'm sure we will not be in a mess. You see things very differently with more wisdom. Please go in for the presidential elections. I will vote for you. Thank you, Mr. Liu, for the program. Thank you very much, Annabelle, watching us from the USA. Annabelle, he's waiting for the shack after the program. Happy New Year, Mr. Liu and Dr. Nick. Please, Mr. Liu, I wish Dr. Nick bless me with 2,000. Let me enjoy the new year and get his blessings. Jackie from Limbe. Jackie, you are rather supposed to sow into Dr. Nick's life so that you will get his blessings. That's how it is done in church. Give the prophet offerings and you will receive prophet's blessings. Is that done? Good evening, Mr. Liu. Please, I wish to extend my New Year wishes to my 1 in a million neighbor, Sandra. Desmond is writing from Douala. Good evening to you, Desmond. Good evening and a happy New Year to you and the entire my media team. Want to wish a happy New Year to the Quinty's family, the Ayers family, the Ncheas family, and both home and abroad, to wife Victory, and to all my customers in Douala and in Bomenda, not forgetting the Azobis family. Quinty Moses is writing from Douala. Good evening to you, Clovis. Bertrand Manje writing from Yaoundé to wish all the sons and daughters of Bafmeng a happy, prosperous New Year. I join my voice with you to do so. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Che Emmanuel Suzang from Mutengene. I wish to greet Dr. Nick, my mentor. I wish to extend Happy New Year to my father, Chia Cletus, and my family members and friends. Thank you. We thank you too. Mr. Tabufo says, Happy New Year, Mr. Liu, and very special Happy New Year to Dr. Nick. Indeed, he is a man of conscience. I'm a CPDM militant, and I admire Dr. Nick's character. I wish all CPDM militants emulate this great comrade in speaking the truth when it comes to conscience. Ade is writing from Bamenda. He says, Shalom to you too. Hi, good evening, Mr. Liu and Dr. Nick. A special Happy New Year greetings to my lovely daughters, Ayang Melanie and Taga Megan, all in Bamenda, from their father, Angwa Valentine in Melon. Greetings, Mr. Liu. Happy New Year. There is no question without an answer and no problem without a solution. There is no way a rat will escape from a cat, especially when the rat is too destructive. The government should get up from slumber. Thanks. Gideon is writing from Njikwa Ngo. Good evening to you. Good evening, Mr. Liu. This is Bashiru from Way Village. I want to send special salute to Dr. Nick and greetings to the Gates family. Bashiru, how are you? Hope everybody is doing well in Way. Okay. Happy New Year to Prime Hour team. Happy New Year to the Mbim Kifem family from Maika in Yaoundé. Okay, Madam Munjui Bridget says, hello, Mr. Leo, good evening and Happy New Year. I'm wishing you all in the studio, Manken Bridget. Mr. Liu and Dr. Nick, please, this problem of godfather has made children who don't have godfathers frustrated. Yes. Greetings, Mr. Liu. I want to wish Happy New Year to you, Mr. Liu, Dr. Nick, Apostle Ambifa, Elvis, Prof. Mark Anthony, and Prince Joel. I'm Nobeto Fernandez writing from Bomenda. Thank you. Special one to you. So Happy New Year to you, Mr. Liu, and to all my people from Njakang village. And for me, efficient writing there. Now, but this year also we have seen an increase or a rise in tensions between traditional authorities and divisional officers. We saw what happened in the South region where a traditional ruler lady orally told the divisional officer that you will not go through here. We've seen the situation in the West region. We've seen lots and lots. Is there again in consciousness of the past that traditional rulers have in their respective villages and communities?
No, the problem is a problem of human relationship.
Okay.
And what has happened in the nation is that, especially in this part of the country, and the training of staff in Enam, you know, we have not trained people. We've not given them emotional intelligence.
Okay.
They don't know emotional intelligence. What they know is that there is a boss who breathes down the throat of everyone else. And then when you are an SDO or a DO or something and you are representing the head of state and you are the chef there, everybody has to bow because you are God. You understand what I'm saying? And therefore they have no consideration for people. And therefore they would crush anyone else on their path, and that's what has been making a bad situation worse. And we are hoping that with the efforts in decentralization, people will begin to realize that they are not as powerful as that. The real power, people have misunderstood power. The concept of power is influence. If you can influence people to go along with you, you don't need force to drive them. If you can convince people and show them the right way of doing things, they're just going to happily follow you and do things rightly, and there will be peace. But if you think that you are going to beat people like asses around the place to get things done, you get it wrong. And that's the mindset that most DOs and SDOs have. They think they can just go around and kick people, which is not right. Okay,
we are going to enter this other phase of the program, which has to do with the address, end of year address of the President of the Republic. That was yesterday, last night. Happy New Year, Mr. Liu. Pray that your vision with your media should be achieved 100% this year. I would like to wish Happy New Year to my wife Mary, Madeleine, and sister Nindum, Aita, and husband Morgan and Nathan. Thank you very much, our Kingsley. We pray to achieve our goals. But your assessment of the address, end of year address by the President of the Republic to the nation yesterday.
Yes, he dealt with the key issues that had to be mentioned. The first key issue is the COVID-19. There was no way you could have an address to the nation without mentioning something about the COVID-19. And he went an extra mile to say that this thing was probably created in the laboratory, and he cautioned the industrialized world that they should respect nature, because it's the tinkering with nature that has caused this unfortunate situation, and he had the courage to say it. And he also us that we should be careful because a more dangerous strain is coming, and we ought to go back and be conscious of the preventive measures. You know, he mentioned his hand washing. I don't know whether he mentioned it, but let's just go over it. The hand washing,
he talked about
the sanitation, and
the
then wearing of masks.
mask,
Of course, he forgot to mention the distancing. But you know, I'm sure he was technically left that out because, you know, distancing don't go well in bars and the markets and so on. We cannot really do our businesses
in churches.
yeah, and so it's a very tricky point. But I guess he was kind of like just saying, hey, let's watch it, so that if the thing really comes over and then we have to crank the machine, people are ready to go. It's like warming up again. What I would say is that the COVID-19, he dealt with this as much as he could. He really consecrated a lot of time to it. Then he mentioned, of course, the violence that is going on in the whole nation, the northwest, southwest, Boko Haram in the north and the east and so on. And those are the really hotbeds. But don't forget, even in Douala, Yaoundé, Bafoussam, with these other problems, you know, related to MRC party and the microbes and all those kind of things. And then the traditional banditry and violence that is there. Something is going out of hand. And of course, he mentioned this decentralization, a couple of things. But what I would like to spend time talking on is the last part of his speech. He didn't put much energy into that, where he was mentioning you know, our education that has to be looked into, youth employment, development, all that package, those social changes that we need to carry out. That's the key. And 2021 will be focused more on that, I suppose, so that we can really change.
Can you say that the president's speech met the aspirations of Cameroonians?
Well, there are 25 million Cameroonians, and everybody wants to see the president's speech from his own angle. MRC will want to see it from our angle. The people who are locked up in prison want to see it from their angle. Everybody wants to see it.
They expected the president to say, okay, we are going to release all.
Yeah, so there's no way. Jesus Christ did not satisfy everybody. So if you're on this earth and you try to satisfy people, you'll be doomed.
Okay. Happy New Year, Mr. Luke. Pray that you have. Okay, no. I took that message already. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Happy New Year. Your program is always interesting. May God bless you. Babangida Iya is writing from Gimbu in Nigeria. Good evening to you, Babangida. Happy New Year. It's Yolan Matit's friend. Hope you're doing okay. Good evening to you, Yolan. We are doing well out here. Happy New Year, my favorite channel. I really admire the wisdom in Dr. Nix. I'm enjoying the program. Sulika from Penka Michelle. Good evening to you, Sulika. 2020 came with broken bottles, camouflaged in the form of dry leaves. I hear to be remembered by all as one which made mankind almost hopeless. Happy New Year to you, Mr. Liu, and equally to Dr. Nick. Happy New Year to my dearest Elizabeth. Jeff is writing from Boya. Good evening to you, Jeff. Glorious New Year, Mr. Liu. This is a year of revival. May God help us. Eku. Carl is writing from Kumba. Hello, Mr. Liu. Dr. Nick, I admire the courage of Dr. Nick, who is a rare militant of the CPDM who stands for the truth. May God guide him for us. Metro Sama Collins is writing from Kumba. Good evening and Happy New Year to my lovely family. Ngwanyo John is writing from Yaoundé. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Happy New Year. Just to point to Dr. Nick that there is no Swiss talks and it should not misinform the general public. It's Horace watching live from the United Kingdom. Horace, good evening. Happy New Year to all my friends, loved ones, family, and not forgetting you in the studio. Let 2021 be the year of peace. Janet is writing from Bafoussam. Good evening to you, Janet. Mr. Liu, the problem this country is undergoing needs God's intervention. Man cannot solve Cameroon's problem, but it will. Okay? Baya Philip. Okay. Happy New Year to me and my big family. Masop Claudine is writing from Bambili. Happy New Year. I'm Mr. Are you Crise from Idinau? Please, I missed the president's speech yesterday. Please, can you send a document of the speech if you have? Happy New Year to Prof. Hali Ikane, Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, University of Boya. There is also this phenomenon where 11th February, you discover that all the presidents of the political parties are now addressing youths. 20th May, presidents of all political parties are addressing the nation. Yesterday we saw a host of political party presidents and other politicians addressing the nation. What is going wrong? Is it a good footing or can we say our democracy is in a good footing, or things are getting out of hand?
Oh, thank you very much. I will address this question of yours, but let me just jump back to somebody from the US who was saying UK who was saying that there's nothing like Swiss talks. I don't know where he got that from, except I'm wrong, but I've had my ear to the ground. I could be wrong, but if there are any Swiss talks anywhere or anything in the likes of a Swiss talk that will solve our problem, that will be welcome.
Okay.
That's all I have to say. But the bottom line is that we need a genuine dialogue. Whether you call it Swiss talk or German talks or UK talks or Wanyam talks or whatever talks, we need it. Thank you.
Okay.
Now that said, yes, it's a phenomenon. It's a phenomenon. We there are a lot of famine in Cameroon. You know, it's something really crazy, and that comes from our backgrounds and our training. People seek relevance, okay, and you seek relevance. You seek for to be counted. You know, you choose the season, so to speak. We have 300 or 350 political parties. Call them 400. It doesn't make any sense. So people are just there, you know, doing whatever, and then they look for key moments when something is going to happen, and they pop in. They pop in to showcase themselves, or to just say something, so that to warm the air, so to speak. And it doesn't really make sense. It doesn't really make sense. There's a lot that they ought to be doing during the year, doing this to have some relevance and to show that you can solve problems. But you just sit, then you just pop up and do something. The same phenomenon would be after this, what you observed as everybody trying to make an end of year speech, so to speak. Another phenomenon would be presentation of New Year wishes or whatever. That's another phenomenon. It will start with the president. It will go to all ministerial. It will go to the divisions and everybody, and it will go to the chiefdoms, and everybody will be doing a presentation of New Year wishes and so on. It's one of those things that we just do because we have nothing to do.
Okay. Yeah. It's not a sign of how vibrant our democracy is.
No. It's something that is going out of hand, so to speak, and needs to be checked. In fact, at the end of the year like this, when the president of the nation is speaking to the people, everyone else ought to just shut up.
Yeah, because when the president of the republic is talking to the nation, the president of the CRM is talking to his militants. The president of PCRN is speaking to his militants. Keremuna is speaking. Barrister Keremuna is talking to his militants. Muarulan is talking to his militants. Almost everybody is talking. So finally, who's talking to?
No. In fact, you are even correcting it, because you are saying talking to his militants, but. I saw a little bit of what
they're talking to the nation.
Maurice come to saying just something had to do with just a piece of it on social media, addressing some issues concerning lawyers. I don't know what else he said, but I took time off to listen to the guy of PCRN, Cabra Libri, and he was talking to the nation as if he was a head of state, you know. And if you were talking to his militants, it's okay. And I think he played the national anthem or something like that. Somebody played the national anthem and then spoke. And then I saw some MPs too doing the kind of thing. I think this is getting out of hand. some kind of indiscipline.
Okay. The president talks. Okay, the president's talking on our behalf now. Happy New Year to all my Media Prime workers and viewers. Thank you too. Happy New Year to you guys over there. I wish all what is being said is well noted by our government. Mukete is writing from Boya. Good evening to you, Mukete. Good evening, Mr. Leo. It's Edith from Bamenda. I wish you all in the studio a happy new year. I wish people like Dr. Nick should be listened to by the top officials of our country for the betterment of our country. Okay. Thank you very much. Happy New Year, Mr. Leo. Good work you guys are doing out there. 2020 has passed with all its predicaments. Let's get into 2021 with Christ at the center, and may all those predicaments go away with 2020. Take Christian watching from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Christian. Happy New Year, Mr. Leo. Dr. Nick, may God bless you and protect you as you move from one end to another. It's Manene from Boya. Happy New Year to my mother and wife, you Manene. Happy New Year to you, Mr. Leo, in the studio. I'm brother Titus Ngule Asu from Melon. I'm wishing a prosperous year to my brother Asu Elise since Ninon village, to Mr. Nane Daniel, Mr. Nane Bernard, Miss Gwendoline, Lydia, all in Melon, and go to recovering to Deborah, who is right now in the hospital, by brother Titus. Good evening to you, brother Titus. My friend Mohamadu from Yaoundé says, good evening, Mr. Liu, and a big one to Dr. Nick. If we can have videos of his programs on his Facebook page, it will help us a lot. We need Dr. Nick's YouTube channel. God bless you. No, all of his programs are on my Media Prime. Please, you can get them there. Good evening, Mr. Liu. I'm Leonard from Kumbo. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to all of you watching from Kumbo, Chief Town of Bui Division. Good evening to you all in the studio. A prosperous new year to Dr. Nick. Please, can doctor speak a word to the nurses and the nursing profession in Cameroon? Thanks. Zekia is writing from Bamenda. Good evening to you, Zekia. Definitely he's going to do so. Good evening, Mr. Liu. Happy New Year to you and the big boss, Dr. Nick. Please, all those viewing Dr. Nick to go in for presidential elections intend to kill him before time. Dr. Nick, I enjoy your intelligence, but please, I will not advise you to go in for any elections in this corrupt country. Happy New Year to my beloved husband, Mr. Tabot, and my children, and to the Tabot family, home and abroad. Mado is writing from Boya. Good evening to you, Mado. Good evening, Mr. Liu and Dr. Nick. Dr. Nick is indeed a mentor. I like the way he analyzes issues. I want to wish a happy new year to Mr. and Mrs. Metuge Charles Elima and my good friend Takwa Elvis and Davison. I'm writing from Betoa. Good evening to you. Good evening to you in the studio. Please, I love Dr. Nick outing and the way he has been handling issues concerning Cameroon. Please tell him to write down his proposals and send to the government for adoption. Joseph is writing from Widikum. I'm sure he's done that already. Happy New Year to you and Dr. Nick in the studio. Ambanui Ta from Kribi. Wish to extend Happy New Year to and greetings to the entire Chicks family, to my wife and kids, to my colleagues, and in the Baptist Health Center here in Kribi. The rate of unemployment is at its peak and still rising. We need more Dr. Nicks to empower. Okay. Wonderful Shepherd, Reverend Golo, Peter and family. Okay. Shalom to you all in the studio and to the Christians of PC Kribi, especially to our wonderful Shepherd, Reverend Gole, Peter and family. Okay. Good evening, Mr. Leo. This is Ando Valentine Chawanu from Bu Bakundu. I extend my happy new year wishes to Mbu family in Kumba, Limbe and Yaoundé, and not leaving my mother, Mama, Diony Teresa, and my beautiful wife, Wembang Charlotte Konjo, in Great Support Boya, and to you in the studio. Happy New Year, Mr. Liu. It's Desmond from Bamenda. Dr. Nick is just a wonderful and intelligent person, talking about training DOs and other administrators in our public universities, and also letting them to go through exams to test knowledge and skills into such posts is just an excellent idea. I appreciate you, sir. Okay. Happy New Year, Dr. Nick Wanyam. My name is Mbwagbo Nana Jean Tiku Tikwapai I'm writing from Belgium. You have always provided this great platform which summarizes the stakes in this country called Cameroon. You always put forth great propositions which are vividly panacea to our issues, but my worry has always been adoption and implementation of your ideas. Is it that those in Yaoundé don't care? Good evening, Doctor. Happy New Year. I'm enjoying the way you are analyzing these issues. If government will implement your analysis, will be good. Njapchi Roland writing from Talba, Mbam, Ekim Division, Center Region. Wishing Happy New Year to my Reverend Ngange Titus in Talba. Okay, we will end here. So you have some access to some of
yes, you know, I was meditating while you were reading, just to say that, you know, we were discussing this issue of too many speeches at the end of the year, and and you see, there was the MRC with a speech, there was Cabral Libiru with a speech, there was Gerard Ngala with a speech. I don't know who else had a speech. Barrister Keremuna with a speech, and a host of that. Okay, let's just step aside and just look at it. There are 300 political parties, and all of them, according to that yardstick, should have been making speeches on the same day, 31st of December. You see the confusion? 300 people making a lot of noise all over the whole place and disturbing everyone else. Not just that, there are 180 or more now MPs, all the MPs talking, senators talking, everybody talking. That's very chaotic. That's anarchy. That's Chinese parliament. If you have something to talk, say it some other time. Don't say it on that day. It's wrong.
We are going to end with reactions from Limbe yesterday after the address by the President of the Republic. Our Limbe-based correspondent had to talk with the Member of Parliament for Fako East constituency, Honorable Etombi Gladys, who had this to say, alongside the city mayor for Limbe.
He touched on some very important issues. Of course, our situation in the northwest and the southwest. He touched on the economy of the country. He touched on the democracy of the country. I think that these are three very important issues for which we need to look forward to, for us to be able to enter 2021 with hope and with our hearts knowing that truly we have a Father who doesn't forget about us, who always thinks about us. Maybe I should also mention that only yesterday the harmonization of retirement age, and many of my constituents were very happy with this. It is something that we should be able to appreciate. You know, in life, no endeavor is perfect. So even as a nation, all the things that we do are perfect. But as we move on, we look for ways to make things better. And I believe that that is the path on which we are. And I appreciate it very much. And my people do appreciate it also. Thank you very much.
He reminded us about the coronavirus, which is still in the air, and that we should still observe the measures to protect ourselves. But the virus is still on. We should not feel that coronavirus is over. It is not over.
Thank you very much. What I picked up from his speech, to summarize, I think that I saw it, President of the Republic very concerned with the health of his population, the Cameroonian people, by starting to draw the attention of the entire nation about the ills of the pandemic coronavirus, and to make people understand that it had been
contained, but it has not been eradicated, and that there is a new phase of this coronavirus which has come to place, and that it has some more dangerous elements, warning the population not to relent from the barrier measures dictated by the government.
The message was a wonderful message full of hopes and aspiration for the youth. The president was first speaking and straight to the point. He touched some particular issues. You need to understand that Cameroon, like any other country, have been going through a serious challenge because of the COVID-19 pandemic. And our case has been peculiar because of the political situation in Northwest and Southwest region. But all this put together, the country has managed to still sail through to the end of this year without having a major setback. And those are the issues the president tried to highlight and was congratulating Cameroonians for their maturity. We have to remember that we are having a situation of attempt of inciting the population through popular march in town and otherwise, but the head of state have recognized that the population, the youth most particularly, do not adhere to such cause, therefore making that we are very mature and patriotic citizens. I think I was happy that he recognized that fact from the population. Thank you very much.
From the head of state's message is
okay. Those reactions there from Limbe yesterday after the address, end of year address by the President of the Republic to the nation. But somebody asked that you say a word to the nurses in Cameroon.
That's right, to say a word to the nurses and to the doctors and to all the people working in all health units, to say that they do their best with the means put at their disposal, and to say that, you know, they could do better if they were given better opportunities to work, you know, like le cadre de travail, plateau technique, as they say it in French, and also upgrading their training and giving them more technology to use. And to say also that when we see a hospital, it doesn't matter what hospital, let's take the General Hospital in Bamenda. 80% of the people who work in the General Hospital in Bamenda are nurses. So nurses are a great force in a hospital setting, and if you don't have properly trained nurses in a hospital, the hospital will collapse, the health sector will collapse. So when you want a health system in a nation to work well, make sure that the nurses are well trained, make sure that they are well paid, make sure that they are well looked after. And when you are training the nurses, yes, they have to have the skills, but above all, the character, the attitude. Because the nurse is that person who is always there with the patient, talking with the patient. And don't forget that besides the technical help they give the patients, the fact that they can talk to the patients, that's where the healing comes. That's where the patient gets their comfort and so on. So nurses are a special breed of people in our health sector, and we should treat them better.
Okay. Doctor, we want to say thank you to you for coming to talking to our televiewers. This is the very first edition of Prime Hour for the year 2021, and we are also very grateful to all of you who took time off to watch this program, and wonderful messages are sent to your loved ones. We say we're happy that you stood by us 2020, and we hope that 2021 is going to be the same. We are wishing a wonderful 2021 to all of you. Okay? Okay.
Let's say that 2021 will be as good as you make it. You are the one who is going to make 2021 a year of miracles for yourself. That means you have to go out of yourself, plan your life, you know, study what you have to study, you know, be aggressive out there, aggressive in the positive way, you know, challenge the world, go for it, go be a go-getter. But if you just lay back and think that miracles are going to come to you, it will never happen.
Thank you, Doctor, for that again, and we send special greetings to everybody. We are very grateful to you, Eli. Others are enjoying. Somewhere you are here working, producing the program, and to you, Desmond, and those working at the broadcasting, and to you, Tabi, Tambe, Bryant, and Madam. We pray for more grace to be able to carry this huge task forward, because expectations are really very high and enormous. Stay blessed. Bye-bye.